world of fighting games, there are usually a diverse cast of characters for players to choose from that fall into many different categories. These categories are what we refer to as character archetypes. In video games with an abundance of different characters to choose from, you might find that multiple characters can fall in the same archetype without having the exact same moveset. But why is that? Today, we're going to analyze some of the different character archetypes in fighting games and explain why these archetypes exist in the first place. First things first, we should define what is a character archetype. Just in layman's terms, a character archetype can be defined as a character's general strategy and gameplay style. Like I was saying earlier, different characters from the same game can fall into the same archetype. So for example, let's look at Guilty Gear Strive. In this game, the two main characters, Kai and Soul, both fall into the character archetype of all-rounder. They are both balanced in a way where they should not be at a complete disadvantage or advantage in any matchup due to their core characteristics. Some of those characteristics include things like an invincible reversal, or DP as everyone else calls it, a strong anti-air attack to prevent opponents from jumping at them, a decent projectile to play a slight keep away game, and good normals to throw out to either press the advantage or punish whiffed attacks from the opponent. You can find these kinds of archetypes in almost every fighting game, like Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter, for example. They're incredibly easy to pick up, and they're good for new players coming into the game. Of course, the all-rounder isn't the only archetype in fighting games. We also have the grapplers, who focus on up-close and personal command throws for big damage and mix-up opportunities. The best example of a grappler I can think of would be Zangief from the Street Fighter series. The list of character archetypes is a long one, and it's full of diverse characters. Just to speed run some of the more popular archetypes, we have the rushdown characters who oppress their opponents with quick moves and mix-ups. We have the zoners who have amazing keep away game with either projectiles or long-reaching normals. We have the puppeteers who fight controlling two or more characters at a time. The stance characters who have a variety of different stances and techniques to confuse their opponents. And last but not least, we have the joke characters, who are usually pretty bottom tier, but sometimes they're so strange that they can be anti-meta in some ways, as running as a secondary. There are a ton of different character archetypes in fighting games, but why do these things exist in the first place? The short answer is so players can feel a sense of familiarity with characters in multiple different games. For example, if you put a ton of hours into using a grappler like Zangief in Street Fighter, even if you want to pick up a new fighting game, the same general strategy still exists with their version of a grappler archetype. Of course, depending on the game, the options available may be different, but the same idea of doing what you can to get the command grab for that big damage and mix-up still exists. Game developers even go a step further to make multiple different characters in the same character archetype. This gives players more options to choose from when they're deciding who they would like to main. Developers can even mix archetypes together to make some truly amazing characters. The first one that comes to mind would be Magneto from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. In that game, Magneto had plenty of movement options, projectiles, and mix-ups to be classified as a hybrid between Rushdown and Zoner. Since the character was so versatile, he could play either archetype and still perform incredibly well. The main idea to take away from this is that character archetypes make video games more interesting for the players and reward them for learning each archetype. The goal is to make player skill transferable to new games to keep players coming back and staying invested in their games. And that is it for the video, guys. What type of character archetypes do you like to use? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Peace.